Most people in the U.S. have heard of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. If not, a quick visit to Wikipedia will give you some sense of how complicated the conflict is. While countries all over the world, including the U.S., have pushed for negotiations between the two sides, these talks have never yielded lasting peace. But what if the two sides were able to work out a deal? What would the deal look like? Where could the final borders of Israel and Palestine be drawn so that both sides would accept the deal? Well, the current borders between Israel and the Palestinian territories have worked for over half a century, so we could just use those, right? Except they haven't really worked.
Due to conflicts with Hamas, Israel and its ally Egypt have severely limited the amount of supplies and people that can cross the Gaza Strip's borders, creating what the spokesperson for the UN Secretary General called a man-made humanitarian and health crisis.
Israeli groups have also constructed large settlements throughout the West Bank, which are protected by a security fence called the West Bank Wall that has significantly diminished the ability of Palestinians to travel between cities or even to reach some of their fields. Since Israel is unlikely to support the relocation of 300,000 Israeli settlers, the proposal to just give the West Bank to Palestine isn't going to go over well in Israel. So how do we solve these issues? First, we want to do a land trade. Since Israeli settlers already possess the land all along the western part of the West Bank, it makes sense that most of this land could be given to Israel, as this would please the settlers and the Israeli government. But a good peace treaty can't just take land away from the Palestinians without giving them something in return. So, the treaty could give them a small strip of land on the Jordan-Israeli border leading to Lake Tiberias. As this is the largest freshwater lake in Israel and the West Bank currently has a water shortage, access to the lake would be extremely valuable to Palestinians. But now what about the Israeli settlements that are within Palestine's new borders? As the eastern line of the settlements are smaller, and Israel claims they are necessary for warning of a Jordanian attack, some of these Israeli settlements can remain and the settlers can be given Palestinian citizenship, or the settlers can be transferred to the western settlements now in Israeli territory, and small Israeli outposts can be constructed along this line so that Israel will still have its early warning system. Unfortunately, the two remaining central settlements are large and economically profitable and cut deeply into Palestinian territory, so simply giving them to Palestine will not be well received by Israel. Part of the reason that these settlements are so economically profitable and important to Israel is the presence of large Israeli factories that are built adjacent to them in the West Bank territory. This would be a much greater problem if many economically powerful countries, such as the U.S., were not invested in the peace process. Since there is a large amount of international support for the peace process, an internationally approved peace treaty could give these factories and settlements to Palestine, in exchange for economic stimulation of the settlements on the Israeli side of the new border. We're almost done, but we still have the issue of continuity. Palestine can't simply leave a large strip of Israeli land between its two territories. And if Israel's territory is to remain continuous, it can't just give a strip of land in the middle of its country to Palestine. Since the area to the north of Gaza gives Israel access to the ocean, we can't draw some convoluted path that connects the two Palestinian territories that way. And since the area to the south of Gaza includes the Israel-Egypt border, which is economically valuable, we can't connect the two territories that way. So we can't have both countries be continuous. But we can give them the next best thing. If the peace treaty places a strip of land between the two Palestinian territories into international control, then this can act as a route between the two Palestinian territories with connecting roads or bridges between the two parts of Israel's territories, preventing either country from controlling trade or travel within the other. This leaves us with a final division of the area that gives both sides economic benefits and ensures freedom of trade and travel within each nation. Although we don't expect this to be the exact form of the borders outlined in the real peace negotiation, we hope that this video has at least revealed that a two-state solution isn't impossible and that both sides' needs can be met with a little bit of creativity.